Something is in my room every night at 3 a.m., written and recorded by the Crypt archives. Sally and I weren't as close for the first year. We both were studying for our law degrees, but she had her own group and I had mine. But one day, one of my friends befriended her and introduced her to everyone else. Of course, she knew of me and I of her through our classes, but that's when we really got together and even closer. She was a nice girl with pale skin, black hair, and green eyes that looked like discs made of emerald shards. We all hit it off quite well. My friends drank quite a lot, but the two of us stayed mostly sober. By the end of the party, everyone else was asleep, and we were just chatting about which professors we didn't like, the people we hated, and other mundane topics related to our degrees. It must have been around 2:30 a.m. when she suggested that we should go find a place to eat. There was a Wendy's downtown that I used to frequent in my bachelor life. We took my car, as she did have a couple of drinks, and we didn't want to risk the police pulling her over. When we arrived, I ordered the baconated combo, and she just ordered a cup of water, which was quite strange given the fact she wanted to go out here anyhow. It was only the two of us in there, but she wanted to go all the way in the back, and she kept looking over her shoulder. The conversation became one-sided, me doing most of the talking. I was blabbing about some cases I learned when I was preparing for a seminar. The clock struck 3 a.m. and I saw her expression turn manic as she looked around us, breathing a sigh of relief after. "Hey, everything alright?" I asked her. She played with the straw of her cup nervously, her eyes hooded by uncertainty. "Sally?" I asked. This time my tone was worried. "I think someone's in my apartment," she said, almost bursting into tears. "Wait, what do you mean, huh?" I was confused. Every night at 3 a.m. I have this sleep paralysis episode where a hooded man walks into my room and walks around searching for my drawers. He always puts everything back together. He always closes the doors and leaves out the door, but one time he forgot to close the door, and when I woke up, it was still open, she admitted, her body trembling. I reached over the table to try and hold her hand, but she pulled away from me. "Sorry, I stammered. "No, it's okay. You were trying to help. I'm just scared. I called the police, but they can't do anything without proof, and I'm too scared to go back there," she said, composing herself and calming down. "I know it's awkward since we just met, but you can stay over at my place for a while until you find a new one," I told her. Her eyes lit up as she looked at me. "Really? It means the world to me right now." "Of course, no worries on my part. I can stay on the couch while you're over," I say. She thanked me some more, and then we spent the rest of the night just sitting there and chatting. I couldn't mind her company a little bit more, but I also couldn't imagine being in her role, thinking someone's in your apartment, spying on you, and you're powerless to do anything. Honestly, that's a horror movie right there. Anyway, the next day I went with her and some of her friends to her place. It wasn't anything surprising. It was a small apartment with a cramped living room, a bathroom, and one bedroom that can only fit a twin bed. Out of curiosity, I took a look at the vents in her apartment. They were too small for anyone to fit in, but there was something strange. I swore I saw the glint of something metallic deeper in the vent. As I tried to reach for it, Sally shouted at me, "Don't!" Sorry, I apologized. "It's alright. There's rats sometimes in the vents. It's a disaster. I don't want you to get hurt," she said. After that, I put the cover of the vent back on and helped her carry her luggage to my car. We drove to the city and reached my apartment. I had the benefits of being born with lawyer parents, meaning my spending budget was bigger than Sally's. That included my apartment. It was nice, larger than any student could ever afford. It was perfect for me. You can take the bed. I don't mind, Sally said. Come on, you're my guest. It's only polite that you get it, I say, smiling softly at her. She grabbed my arm and almost sunk her fingers into my flesh. Please, I think I sleep better on the couches anyhow. I relented. The rest of the day we spent together, chatting and eating dinner. I made a mean spaghetti, probably the best batch I ever made if I think about it. I remember her laugh and her dorky smile, and at that moment, I couldn't help but feel like we were going to be good friends. At night, she was anxious again, but I made her a cup of chamomile tea and stayed with her until she fell asleep. Finally, after a while, I went to sleep as well, snuggling in my bed, my eyelids barely containing themselves from collapsing and shutting my eyes. I happened to wake up in the dead of night. My eyes shot open and my body stiffened. I couldn't move a single muscle. I could only see the little bit of the room that the moonlight coming from the window illuminated. But finally, I saw it. In the corner there were a pair of fiery red eyes boring into my soul as it stood there, watching me like I was some science experiment waiting to implode. My heart was going to jump out of my chest as I tried my hardest to move, but I couldn't even make my fingers twitch. As soon as the nightmare started, it ended. I immediately woke up to my first alarm with nervous bullets of sweat dripping all over my face. I must have been spooked by Sally's circumstances, which gave me sleep paralysis. Yeah, it was just my imagination. That's what I thought. I was still tired, but I moved on with my day. I attended classes with Sally, not having mentioned anything to her. Later that day, at lunchtime, I met up with my best friend Jake. Jake said while munching on his food, "Yo, Sally's moved in with you, right?" "Yeah, she has," I responded. "Right on then, right on." He high-fived me. "Oh, stop, it's not like that. She's just having some problems with her current apartment," I said. Sure, Casanova. Anyway, I mostly asked because of a rumor going on around lately. He started to whisper. "A rumor?" I asked. "You didn't hear it from me, but some girls say they saw this weird brand on Sally while she was changing for a sports club. It apparently looked like one of those burning brands, from hot iron rods. They said she had like a 5-pointed star with the head of a ram branded on her." "Kinda satanic," Jake whispered. "Come on, Jake, it's just a rumor. Ignore it," I said. Sure, man, whatever you say." He dropped the topic, focusing on his food. Later that day, I made it home later than usual due to some project. Sally was already sleeping on the couch as I entered the apartment. I tiptoed to the shower and took a hot, steaming one. I was all red and steam came off of me as I finished up. I headed straight to my bed, trying to forget the day. I must admit I did feel a bit curious about the brand those girls said Sally had. I thought about asking her, but I felt like I would have been highly insensitive. My eyelids were getting heavy again and I drifted into the void of sleep. I hoped I was going to get a good night's sleep, but I woke up once again. I couldn't move, so I looked around the corner half, expecting to see eyes again. But this time I heard breathing right next to my ear. It was steady, calm, but settling. It had warm breath that stank like rotting flesh. I could feel my heartbeat so loud that it felt like a heart attack was about to happen. The unknown thing grabbed my neck forcefully. It had long claws that burned into my skin. With that, I woke up again suddenly. I grabbed my own throat and I could feel the marks left by the claws. I rushed to the bathroom, and lo and behold, my neck was faintly red with a 3-pronged claw print around it. As I left the bathroom looking manic, Sally approached me. "Good morning. You alright?" She tilted her head as she spoke. "No, not at all. I dreamt that this thing grabbed my neck, and my own neck has a mark, and I freaked out." "Calm down. Maybe just a weird mark from the hot shower you took," she suggested. I raised an eyebrow. "How do you know about that?" "I used the bathroom after you showered. Yeah. I swear I felt like I was in the gym sauna." She smiled at her own comment. "Right, maybe you're right." I sighed and massaged my forehead. "Look, I'll be gone all day today from noon, but I'll make a big batch of brownies for you to enjoy and relax before bed tonight. Sound good?" she said innocently. I smiled and nodded. I didn't want to get ready for class. Jake approached me again later that day. "Hey man, you look like shit. You alright?" he asked, his eyes squinting at me. "I just started getting sleep paralysis, man. I think I'm stressed out by this project," I said. "If you say so, man. Hey, sorry to bring this up again, but I heard Sally didn't come to class today," Jake said. "Really? She said she was going to be away all day," I responded. "I'm not hearing good things about her, dude. Apparently the other day she had like a full-blown freak out towards some dude. Be careful, man." Jake patted my back. "Rumors are just rumors, man. She's a good person," I hissed back. Jake sighed and shrugged, leaving for his class. I decided to cut my day early and go home. I was too tired to move on with my day. As I entered my apartment, the smell of the freshly baked brownies invaded my nostrils, but I had no energy to go and eat. I flopped onto my bed and drifted to sleep. I must have slept for about 8 hours already when I woke up again at the dead of night. This time, the eyes were back in the corner, but someone was sitting on my bed. The person leaned closer, and I could see it was Sally. She looked sad as she held a hot iron brand. "I'm sorry. I am so sorry," she said, whispering softly. The thing in the corner grunted and growled like an unholy abomination. It sounded as if a ram and a wolf created a messed up new species. She removed my shirt and pressed the iron brand against my skin, searing the symbol of a 5-star with her ram's head onto my skin. I wanted to cry, scream, push her off of me, but I could not do anything about it. After she branded me, she put my shirt back on. "Please, forgive me. I had no choice," she whispered again before leaving. I heard the horrifying laughter of the thing in the corner ringing in my ears like a bell. The next few nights were horrifying. The demon tormented me in so many ways. It hurt me. It filled my head with my insecurities. It threatened to kill my family. Really, I was terrified to even leave my room. I remember when Jake visited me as I didn't show up to class for a few days. I threw a glass at him in a state of delirium. But none of that matters. The nights of no sleep, the constant terror, the nightmares, all of it ends tonight. I learned much later that the brownies I had made had been made with roofies to get me to go to sleep deeper. I think it was supposed to make the whole entire thing easier, seeming more like a dream than reality. I did the same thing to your drink. Right now, you can hear me and you can see it, but this will all feel like a terrible high. You will wake up and think nothing of it, even having forgotten it until you go to sleep again. I'm sorry, but I couldn't take it anymore. Forgive me.